All right, let's kick things off. Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're going back to a period that really flipped the script on how football is played.
Yeah, we're talking about FC Barcelona's dream team.
You hear Dream Team and you think trophies galore,
Yeah.
right? But honestly, their legacy goes way deeper than that.
Oh, for sure, way deeper. We're talking a tactical revolution that still echoes in today's game. Like, teams at the top of the world, they're still using stuff these guys pioneered.
Exactly. So to break down just how influential they were, we're going to dig into texto pagado, which is really gets to the core of what made this team tick.
Yeah, great analysis. It really gets into Johan Cruyff, the mastermind. His
Yeah.
vision was, well, it wasn't just about winning. It was about, like, total control, dictating the flow of the game. He called it total football.
Total football.
Yeah.
Okay, now that sounds almost philosophical, right? What even IS that?
Well, imagine a team where every single player on the field, goalkeeper, defenders, all the way up to the strikers, is involved in both attack and defense.
Wait, so not just a couple of superstars carrying the team, it was like everyone understood their role in this bigger picture.
Precisely. It was about positioning, movement, everyone working together seamlessly, like almost like one single unit. Think of it as a perfectly choreographed dance on the field.
I'm trying to picture that, a whole team just moving as one. Wow. Is that where, like, the famous tiki-taka we see today, did that come from this?
You could say that tiki-taka and even, that really intense high pressing you see a lot of today, both have roots in what Cruyff was doing back then with the Dream Team.
Okay, so how did this system actually work? Like, break it down for us. What were the key principles?
Well, one of the most important was building from the back. But we're not talking just, simple passes from defenders to midfielders. Cruyff had his goalkeepers initiating attacks.
Hold on, the goalkeeper, a playmaker? That's wild.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A guy like Andoni Zubizarreta wasn't just there to block shots. He was the first line of attack. And then you had defenders like Ronald Koeman who weren't just stopping goals, they were acting as playmakers, too.
Wait, Koeman, the tough defender, a playmaker, how did that even work?
Well, Koeman had this uncanny ability to ping these long, precise passes, like splitting defenses wide open, setting up attacks from deep. And then on top of that, you had all this coordinated movement. Every player knew where to be, when to move, how to support their teammates. It was amazing.
So it was this constant motion, this fluidity that must have been just, I don't know, a nightmare to defend against.
Exactly. Opponents, they never knew who to mark because anyone could be a threat at any time. And a lot of that came from maintaining this real width and depth on the field. Wingers stretching the other team out, forwards dragging defenders out of position, just creating space, for those midfield maestros like Guardiola to really work their magic.
So creating those passing lanes, those chances to just slice through defenses.
You got it. Oh, and we can't forget the pressing, relentless pressing. After they lost the ball, they didn't just sit back. They hunted it down immediately, fiercely.
So Cruyff basically created this system where everyone was involved in every part of the game.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But then he also wasn't afraid to, take risks with formations too, right?
Absolutely. He's famous for introducing the 3-4-3 formation, which back then was almost unheard of. Most teams were stuck in that, traditional four-defender setup.
Wasn't that a huge gamble, though?
Right.
3 defenders? It sounds kind of risky, right?
It was a bold move, for sure. But Cruyff, he saw the attacking potential in it. By pushing more players forward, he was creating more chances to score.
Sounds like it took a lot of, I don't know, tactical discipline from those players, though, right? Like, they couldn't just be good. They had to be really, really smart.
Exactly. It's a testament to Cruyff's genius, really. He was willing to challenge the norms to achieve his vision.
And it wasn't just about playing pretty football either, was it? This dream team, they were winning a lot.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. They dominated Spanish football. I mean, think about those 4 La Liga titles in a row, from 1990 to 1994. They didn't just win, they dominated.
Wait, 4 in a row? That's crazy. And those titles, it wasn't just like individual talent, right? It was proof that this total football system actually worked.
Oh, absolutely, no question. Their consistency over those 4 years, it proved that Cruyff's system wasn't just some theory, it was a winning formula.
All right, so let's talk about some of those iconic victories, because it wasn't just playing well, it was making history.
And that's what they did. Remember those dramatic comebacks in 92 and 93? I mean, they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, stealing the La Liga title from Real Madrid on the final match day, both seasons.
Man, talk about pressure. I can only imagine the celebrations after those wins. But maybe their most iconic victory was that 1992 European Cup final.
Oh, absolutely. May 20th, 1992, at Wembley Stadium. It's etched in football history. They were up against Sampdoria in this really tense final that went down to the wire.
I've heard that final was a nail-biter. What, what finally broke the deadlock?
It took extra time, but it was a Ronald Koeman free kick, a stunning strike that finally secured that 1-0 victory, and it was Barcelona's first ever European Cup.
What a moment. We were talking about Koeman, the playmaker, but I guess he was known for those powerful shots too, huh?
He was a complete player, that's for sure. And that European Cup victory, it cemented their status as one of the greatest teams of all time.
So let's recap. 4 La Liga titles, a Copa del Rey, a European Cup, and that's not even mentioning the Spanish Super Cups and the UEFA Super Cup. That's a serious trophy haul.
It's incredible, no doubt. But you know what's even more impressive? Their legacy goes way beyond those trophies. They fundamentally changed FC Barcelona and the entire world of football.
That's what I find fascinating. We've talked about the wins, but what about the impact that went beyond the scoreboard? What did they leave behind?
Well, for starters, think about La Masia, Barcelona's famed youth academy. Cruyff, he didn't just focus on the first team, he revolutionized how young players were developed.
So it wasn't just about winning today, it was about building, like a dynasty, a system to dominate for decades.
Precisely. He instilled his philosophy in the youth academy, prioritizing, technical skills, tactical awareness from a young age.
And that's where guys like Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, even Messi came through, right? Products of that Cruyffian system.
Absolutely. Cruyff's vision was so powerful, it influenced generations of players. And it wasn't just players, it was coaches, too.
Right. He mentored so many future greats, like Pep Guardiola, who led, well, one of the most dominant Barcelona teams ever.
Exactly. Guardiola, Luis Enrique, even coaches like Frank Rijkaard and Marcelo Bielsa, they all took inspiration from what Cruyff had built. His influence, it just spread everywhere.
It's amazing to think about how much one man's vision could change the game. But this wasn't just a Barcelona phenomenon, was it? This dream team, they had a global impact.
Oh, absolutely global. They set a new standard. The way teams think about possession-based football, high pressing, even the way they develop young players, it all goes back to what Cruyff's dream team did.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think, a team from the early 90s is still shaping how the game is played today. So they gave Barcelona an identity, influenced generations of players and coaches, and changed how the whole world thought about football.
It was a complete transformation. They weren't just a team. They were like a cultural phenomenon that left a legacy unlike any other.
And I think we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to uncover about this dream team and their impact on football history. But we'll be back soon to delve even deeper, so stay tuned.
Yeah, it really is remarkable how they still, capture the imagination of football fans even today.
It's like they transcended the sport, almost became something bigger.
Right.
But before we get too philosophical,
Yeah.
let's rewind a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about the system, but what about like the individual players, the guys who actually brought this thing to life?
Oh, of course. Cruyff was the architect, but you need incredibly talented players to actually execute that vision on the pitch.
Right, because the system is only as good as the people running it.
Exactly.
So who are some of the standout performers in this dream team?
Well, you can't talk about the dream team without mentioning the man who scored that iconic free kick in the 92 European Cup final.
Oh, yeah?
Ronald Koeman.
Koeman the playmaker, as we learned.
That's right.
But he was so much more than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was the complete defender. He could shut down attackers, launch pinpoint passes, and score goals.
Wow.
In fact, he became the highest scoring defender in Barcelona's history.
Wait, seriously? The highest scoring defender?
Mm-hmm.
That seems impossible. How is that even possible?
It's a testament to his incredible skill set. He had this powerful shot, deadly from set pieces, and he was so good at reading the game and knowing when to join the attack.
So basically the ultimate weapon for Cruyff's system.
Exactly.
Combining, that defensive solidity with attacking flair.
Yeah, and then you had another legend, Hristo Stoichkov.
I've heard stories about him.
Oh, you
Like this fiery, passionate player with an incredible left foot.
That's spot on, yeah. Magician with the ball, could create something out of nothing.
Wow.
And just had a knack for scoring crucial goals.
So we're talking like world-class talent. Someone
Yeah.
who could just single-handedly change the game.
Without a doubt. He even won the European Golden Boot in 1994, scoring more goals than any other player in all of Europe's top leagues.
Wow.
And in 1992, he came incredibly close to winning the Ballon d'Or. I mean, that's essentially the MVP award for world football.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the Danish maestro, Michael Laudrup.
Ah, Laudrup.
He just seemed to like glide across the pitch with such elegance.
Pure magic on the ball. His vision, passing range, dribbling skills, just breathtaking. I mean, many consider him one of the most gifted midfielders of all time.
I mean, it's no wonder they called them the dream team with players like that, right? It's like, oh, a footballing fantasy come to life.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was. The perfect storm of talent, vision, and tactical innovation.
And their success wasn't just limited to those 4 consecutive La Liga titles.
No.
We haven't even talked about all the other trophies they won.
Right.
A Copa del Rey in 1990, 3 Spanish Super Cups in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, this team was relentless.
And those victories weren't just about, adding to their collection.
Right.
Each trophy was a validation of Cruyff's philosophy.
Especially that first European Cup.
Yeah, it showed the world that total football wasn't just a theory, it was a winning formula on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
It solidified Barcelona's place among Europe's elite.
Exactly, and I think that's what's so fascinating about this team. They had such a profound impact on the sport as a whole, even beyond their own, trophy cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the maybe less obvious ways they changed the game?
Well, think about youth development.
Okay.
Academies all over the world now, they prioritize technical skills, tactical awareness from a young age. I mean, that's directly influenced by what Cruyff did at La Masia.
So that emphasis on developing, well-rounded footballers rather than just athletes.
Yes.
That can be traced back to the Dream Team.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond youth academies. I mean, the way teams press, the way they build from the back, the emphasis on possession-based football, these are all elements that the Dream Team, helped to popularize.
It's amazing to think that a team from the early 90s had such a lasting impact. It's like they planted the seeds for a whole new style of play.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about tactics, it was about philosophy. They showed the world that you could win by playing beautiful, attacking football.
And that philosophy, it continues to inspire generations of players and coaches, right? They didn't just win, they changed the way people think about the game.
It's incredible to think that they're still so relevant today.
Yeah.
But what stands out to you as their most enduring legacy?
I think it's the idea that football can be an art form. The Dream Team, they played with such joy, such flair, that they captivated audiences around the world. They weren't just winning, they were entertaining.
Right.
They were making people fall in love with the beautiful game.
That's a great point. They weren't just athletes, they were artists expressing themselves on the pitch.
Exactly.
And that's a legacy that goes beyond wins and losses.
Exactly. It's about the beauty, the passion, the way they made people feel. It's something that transcends generations.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to take a step back and consider the bigger picture. What can we learn from this Dream Team? What lessons can we apply to other areas of life?
Yeah, it's when you think about everything they accomplished, and it's easy to get caught up in the romanticism of it all.
Yeah, it really is a captivating story, but I think it's important to remember that their journey wasn't always smooth sailing,
Right, because no team, no matter how talented, just waltzes their way to success without facing any challenges along the way.
Exactly. They had setbacks, internal conflicts, and, they faced some really fierce competition.
Right.
Their success wasn't just handed to them, they had to fight for it every step of the way.
Which, honestly, makes their achievements even more impressive, right? They weren't just skilled, they were resilient. They knew how to handle adversity.
And a lot of that comes down to their leader, Johan Cruyff.
Right.
He pushed them, challenged them, and really instilled this belief that they could overcome any obstacle.
He seems like he was more than just a coach, almost like, a mentor, a visionary who inspired them to reach their full potential.
He was definitely a unique figure, a true leader who had the ability to just get the best out of his players. But it's also important to acknowledge that their success wasn't just about Cruyff and the Migger players.
Right. There was a whole ecosystem that supported them. Yeah. The club's board, the fans, the city of Barcelona itself, it was a collective effort.
Absolutely. The Dream Team, they had the backing of a club that believed in their project.
Right.
And they were fueled by the passion of their fans.
Yeah.
That kind of support, it's invaluable.
It's a reminder that great things happen when talent and vision and support, it all comes together.
Yeah, for sure.
But, as we've been talking about the Dream Team and their legacy, I've been thinking, what can we learn from their story? What lessons can we take away and apply to our own lives, even if we're not, football fanatics?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of having a clear vision
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and the courage to pursue it even when others doubt you.
Like Cruyff did with Total Football. Everyone thought he was, crazy.
Yeah.
But he stuck to his beliefs and he built a team that embodied his philosophy.
Exactly. And that conviction, it was contagious. It spread to the players, the staff, even the fans. That shared belief was crucial to their success.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
Belief is powerful.
Absolutely. Another key lesson is the importance of teamwork and collaboration, I think.
Yeah.
The Dream Team was full of incredibly talented individuals, but they were willing to put their egos aside and work together for a common goal.
Yeah. They understood that, they were stronger as a unit than as individuals.
Right.
That's a lesson that applies to any field, really,
Mhm.
whether it's business, science, or even just, everyday life.
Couldn't agree more. And finally, I think the Dream Team teaches us the importance of constantly striving for improvement, of never settling for the status quo.
They were always looking for ways to refine their system, to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
They never stopped innovating.
Exactly. They embraced a growth mindset, always pushing the boundaries of what was possible in football.
Yeah.
And that's a mentality that we can all benefit from, no matter what our passions are.
This deep dive has been truly eye-opening.
Mm.
I knew the Dream Team was special, but I never fully appreciated the depth of their impact, both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, it's a story that goes far beyond trophies and titles.
Right.
It's a story about innovation, resilience, teamwork, and the power of a shared vision.
And it's a story that continues to inspire generations of footballers and fans alike.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't just a team. They were a phenomenon that changed the world.
So to you, our listener, I leave you with this. What dream are you pursuing? And what lessons can you take from the Dream Team's journey to help you achieve it?
That's a great question to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.